Have you guys seen this Connor McDavid phobia thing with ketchup? Is that a real thing? Like, can people really be afraid of condiments?
Yeah, I mean, we had a player here, that played for the Griffins for a little bit. Matt Luff, he was afraid of ketchup.
Really? Is there any other instances of people like you've heard like are afraid of like relish or anything else?
I mean, I went to school with a kid that was terrified of ketchup, and there's a story of us terrorizing him, like holding him down with a ketchup bottle. Or yeah.
So there's a guy on my beer league team that is a golf instructor, and Matt Luff gave him a stick, and it's too small for him, so he gave it to me. It's a really nice stick, but I use it because it's got a great curve, but it's got his autograph on it on the tape. But I still use it anyway, and people are always asking like, "What's that autograph on your stick?" I'm like, "Dude, it's not like the Sandlot. It's not like Babe Ruth. It's Matt Luff."
What you should do, Evan, is you should get, like, a little ketchup packet, and you should, like, put it next to his name and, like, send it to him in his DM because there's a ketchup guy here his name is Chup, and he dresses like a ketchup bottle. He goes to all the Tigers games, he goes to the Wings games, and he was, like, terrorizing Matt Luff in his DMs and his, like, comments on Twitter, for a while. There was a whole interview, I think it was with Daniela, for the Red Wings when he, did get called up. So, there was a whole interview about it. It was kinda crazy, it's kinda funny, but, that's how I found out about Matt Luff being, deathly afraid of ketchup. So, it'd be kinda funny to terrorize him a little bit.
Strange.
Welcome to the Flying Octopus podcast, offering a new perspective on Red Wings hockey, as well as all the important news from around the NHL. And now, here are your hosts, Tony Wolak, Devin Little, and Evan Sabrin.
Hey, it's Carter Bear, and you're listening to the Flying Octopus podcast.
Welcome to episode 65, the Danny DeKaiser edition. I'm your host, Evan Sabrin, joined as always by my co-host, Devin Little. And today we have Nick Harrington and Travis Focht from the Hockeytown West podcast. If you're not following these guys, this is where you need to be. One-stop shop for everything Griffins and Walleye hockey. You can follow them on Twitter at HockeytownWPod. Guys, thanks for being here today. It's great to have you. Always love talking to you guys. You are a bunch of rascals, and hopefully you don't put out the outtakes that we've already had 5 minutes into the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Especially with Nick, he's clearly tuned into the Griffins above him, so he's here in spirit at least.
That's how you can tell, because it's just like this light flashing on and off him. Like sometimes I'll do that at work here with the football game, and it's like you look like it's not good for your neck, bud. On episode 65 of the Flying Octopus podcast today, we'll recap the Red Wings' last 3 games that concluded with a 4-1 loss to the Mammoth on Wednesday. But all in all, it was a pretty good week for Detroit. We'll also talk about some notable transactions that have happened the past few days. We said goodbye to Jonatan Berggren and hello to John Leonard earlier this week. We'll break down what that means moving forward. We'll also look at the Red Wings record now with Todd McLellan behind the bench, as Tuesday's win over the Islanders was his 82nd game with the team, and now that's a full season, folks. So his record might surprise you. And finally, we'll discuss Axel Sandin-Pellikka's game, as he's put up 7 points in his last 7 games. He's becoming a nightly highlight reel. It's been a long time since the Red Wings have had a defenseman with that kind of offensive talent. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone where you can find us. Give us a follow on Twitter at Flying Octopod, and you can also find us on YouTube at The Flying Octopod, and listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, let's dive in. At the time of this recording, the Red Wings are in first place in the Atlantic with 41 points, and it's almost Christmas time, folks. And what does that mean, Devin?
It's time to be serious about who's in a playoff position and who's not.
Yeah, and let's remember, December has not been kind to the Wings the last 2 seasons. 7-2 in 2024, 5-9-1 in December of 2023. So far this month, Detroit is 6-2-1. Not bad, and I think Red Wings fans will take that any day of the week. Red Wings blanked the Connor Bedardless Blackhawks team on Saturday by the score of 4-0. 26-save shutout by Gibson. Alex DeBrincat continues his torrid pace with 2 goals against his former team, while Patrick Kane added a goal and assists. But the highlight for me was that ASP on that Emmett Finney goal, and I'm sure you guys saw that. Watching him walk that line was like absolutely ridiculous, and I don't care what you say. You can laugh at me all you want. I think it reminded me of Cale Makar. That was the last game of Detroit's 6-game road trip that saw the team go 4-1-1, 9 out of a possible 12 points. Red Wings fans again, all Davis. Tuesday, the Red Wings returned home to face Patrick Waugh and the Islanders. ASP tied it up at 1 apiece in the third on a pretty wicked shot down low that went over the shoulder of Ilya Sorokin. Like, not a lot of space there. That's an elite shot. Then the Cat took over with his 19th and 20th goals of the year, and the Wings walked out of the LCA with a 3-2 win. DeBrincat is on a pace for what, Devin? I saw you tweet this out the other day.
46 or 47 goals. Something.
Jesus, he's tied for 4th in the league in goals scored with 20. He's like tied with guys like Robertson, McJesus. It's pretty good. And plus, dude, I love beating Patrick Waugh and wiping that shit-eating grin off his face. It's always good to beat that team. Gibson stopped 16 of 18 shots in the victory, including his 214th career win. Wednesday, back at LCA for the Mammoth. Didn't go good tonight. 4-1 loss to the Mammoth, but like right now, you can't be really upset with what the Red Wings are doing, especially when you consider the position and how they've been playing this last couple of weeks. So, Devin, I want to start with you. Let's get some good takeaways from this week as a whole, and I want to hear how you would go about that.
Well, good takeaways from a whole are just that the Red Wings are playing really good hockey in December. You kind of already alluded to it. It's been a rough month for them in years past. But whether it's the timely goaltending of John Gibson, who has really seemed to have found his game this month, or even just contributions from up and down the lineup. You mentioned Axel Sandin-Pellikka creating goals, creating points, making some pretty plays. Obviously, Emmett Finney scored a goal and a losing effort tonight, but you're just getting contributions from up and down the lineup, and you're going to need that throughout the rest of the season if they're going to be where they want to be. And they're playing, it's weird saying this coming fresh off of a loss, but they are playing really good hockey right now. They're playing the kind of hockey that if they are able to sustain it, we're going to be watching competitive, meaningful hockey games deep into our April again. It's been really encouraging. I think to kind of go back to that point, Gibson is looking more and more like the goalie that they spent assets to go get in the off season. And I think that overall, despite the fact you compare their defensive numbers to last season to this season, they're actually very similar. I feel like whether it's just the offense producing more or even just the team buy-in, there's an added level of confidence I have watching them, and I have to imagine they have playing with each other. Just that there seems to be an added level of certainty and comfort. And I think that we're kind of seeing the results of that. That's kind of why they're winning more than they're losing right now. And it's been a lot of fun to watch.
I think the thing for me is like, while they're still playing well, there's still some signs that they got to figure out. Still worry about depth scoring to a point. I've liked the kid line to a point. Like, I think if they can start to find a little bit more offense, that'll be a sustainable line. But yeah, like you go out west and you take 9 of 12, you come home and win the first one. I think tonight it just all kind of caught up to them a little bit, but I didn't think they played bad at all. I thought they played relatively well. I thought Utah took advantage of 2 great opportunities and scored 2 goals that way. And then obviously the 2 lates, just when they scored the third one, it was just kind of over. But as a whole, like, I think depth scoring, and then if they can continue to figure it out defensively a little bit, keep playing well, and if Gibson can figure it out like he's figured it out, but carry on with it, I think they're in a good spot. They need Talbot to figure it out, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't have like a scheduled loss when he plays. That you cannot have that.
I think the one thing that I really like about this season is like Todd is pedal to the metal, right? Like there's so much pressure, and it's Hunt. That's been his mentality since training camp, and the guys are doing that. The big thing that I find too, though, is that this is a young team, right? You've got all of these draft picks up there. They've got to learn how to win. They've got to learn how to play the style. And what I see it too is like this year's the East is so close. It's so close. Every night matters. Every point matters. It's like playoff hockey to a point every night. So it's not like they could have figured this out last year with Newsy, right? Like if they would have had Newsy again this year, this team wouldn't have been close to where it was. Like they would have just given up here in December. They're still in it. They're going to be in it. These kids, they'll get to at that point. They're developing. It's that pressure. It's like what they said before. Playoff hockey is literally 2 games of 1. these kids are going to be learning, and it's just going to take a little bit. We're going to have our huge swings like we did in November of like big blowout losses and then a close win, right? It's going to even out, but it's just, you got to have patience, right? This is what everybody wanted, was young kids. They wanted the draft picks up. They wanted the prospects up. Now you have it. Now you just got to be patient, be happy with where we're at right now in the standings, right? Like every night you're like, oh, we're first. Oh, now we're in fourth. Okay, we're back in first.
But you're right, it's working. Like you can't be upset with where the Wings are at. You can't, overreact to every loss, because there will be losses along the way. It's part of the learning process. But where they're at right now, I don't think a lot of Red Wings fans coming into this season, especially knowing with the young kids coming in, I know I've said that 1,000 times, but I didn't predict to be here. My prediction at the beginning of the season was that the Red Wings would miss the playoffs this year again. But here we are. Now it's kind of crazy how like jammed up the Atlantic is, though. It's win here, a win there. Like you have to wake up every morning and check the standings because you're not sure who won from later or whatever. But the Red Wings are in a good spot right now, and it's really good to see. And the John Gibson turnaround. Was he 6-0 with a 2.2? He's like a 6-0 with a 2-point goals against average, 930, something around there. That's been pretty good. So if he can turn that around and these kids continue to impress, I mean, look at ASP, for Christ's sakes, man. He's Axel Sandin-Pellikka looks like he's an offensive talent that the Red Wings have not had in a long time on the defensive end. And that goal he scored last night, that was a pretty sick shot. That was elite. And you can see him thinking the game and getting more confident with the puck. Defensively, he's going to need a lot of work still. But watching him grow, I feel like he gets better every game, more confident, and I love seeing it. I think we're down the road, maybe years from now, if he was said piece in the Vancouver trade that could have got brought in Quinn Hughes, and we don't know. Obviously, we still think it's Simon Edvinsson. I know, but I think the Red Wings fans are going to be glad that this kid's around.
I'm not gonna lie, when you've seen all the hype in Sweden, like he was the guy. Like I told a few of my friends, I'm like, if this guy can get to translate what he's doing in the SHL, if he can get it to translate into the NHL, like this kid's got superstardom potential. Now, there's still a long way to go. What are they, even 30 games into the year? Somewhere in there, 30 games?
34, I believe.
So, yeah, you're not even at the halfway point of his first year, and he's about to hit what he normally played in an entire season in 3 months. So, I mean, we'll see if the rookie wall hits. I mean, we've got so many kids that some of them are going to hit a wall. It just happens, especially when you start out and stay for the whole year. But with him, like you said, the ability to walk the line, he's got great vision. He's very talented offensively. The defensive side, it's going to take some time to round into, because you see the mistakes, and the mistakes are like, they're very obvious at times, but there comes a point where it's like, I think he could have benefited from a year in GR, but he's not the problem. And I think that's probably the greatest thing with a young defenseman. And the ability to learn from guys like Seider. I mean, Seider had a great rookie year. I know he's not like a 10-year vet, but at the same time, like, that's a good guy for him to learn from. Seider's a guy that can help him defensively. Now, with being a smaller defenseman, he's going to have to be an elite skater. His gap control is going to have to be superb, because he's just not a very big guy. It's not like he's Simon Edvinsson size. So he's going to have to be very good positionally, especially defensively. I think offensively, his mindset will take over games at times in the future. But yeah, he's off to a really good start, especially the last 7-8 games.
You can teach, what's the saying? You can teach him to play defense, but you can't teach that kind of talent that he has. And I mean, this past week, some of the plays he's made, you can tell that this kid could be something special, and I believe he is.
I don't disagree. I think that he's flashing all of the things that made him like the guy that people talked about for like the last couple of years when you talked about Red Wings prospects. He's, he kind of stands out on that blue line because he's not a big guy. He's like the lone guy who's not 6'1" or taller. Doesn't necessarily play a super physical game. He's a different breed of defenseman than what they have accumulated to this point so far. And to see it, like Travis was saying, to see it translate, at least in the early going here, to see it translate, to see him be able to walk the line, be able to identify passing and shooting lanes, to be able to know when a good time to pinch and to activate and score that goal you referenced a little bit ago with the over the shoulder.
Dirty.
The kid's talented. Like, there's really no other way to put it, and it's really cool to see him make that evident right off the hop as a 20-year-old defenseman. It's difficult to do it as a 20-year-old, let alone a 20-year-old defenseman. So again, to Travis's point, not even halfway through his first season. Evan, you and I love our roller coasters. It's going to be up and down. I'm not expecting him to be a rocket ship, but once he kind of takes his lumps and continues to build experience and just get more and more comfortable as an NHL defenseman, sky's the limit. He's that kind of defenseman that can take over a game, like you said, Travis. And I think that he's learning over time when to really let his talent take over. And that's something that will continue to develop as he gets older and older.
The one thing that I noticed with him down in here at GR is just how quickly he adapts to the game. He is just a sponge. And you kind of see it throughout. Is like there were times earlier in the season that he would just rip the puck from where he was at. And now he's looking at it. He's seeing the game differently. He's looking for those passes instead of just ripping it because that was his only option before. He's finding those guys that are wide open, or he's creating space with the way he skates, right? So great guy too, been able to talk with him in the locker room. Fun guy to talk with. I mean, I would have hated to see a trade of him going out. I know Quinn Hughes, Norris Trophy, like I get it, but at the same time, like we've got that just creates holes, right? Like I think Devin, you said it before. It's you trade that and then you're just creating holes in the lineup, and that doesn't really fix the issues that we have. So I'm happy we stayed put. I'm happy we still have this guy because he still has the sizzle, and there's still a lot of season left. He's absorbing like a sponge though. Like he's learning the game so much, so fast that I think the sky really is the limit with this kid.
Tuesday's game versus the Islanders was Todd McLellan's 82nd game as head coach of the Red Wings. His record in that time, 45, 30, and 7 for 97 points. That is a playoff team. So McLellan is delivering. Do you guys think that the pace can keep up, and this will be the year of the Wings and the playoff drought? Trad, I'll start with you.
I told a lot of people before the year I think they make the playoffs this year. The start they're on, where they're at right now, they've positioned themselves well. I know Brandon doesn't think he's the guy. I know we've talked about that a couple times, but I think he was the correct guy to steady the ship, right? Like to get them into the mindset of change. They needed that. I think what really stood out to me was after the first game of the year, he's like, you hear the players talk about, we can get better when it's time, right? Like, and he's the kind of guy that's going to tell you how it is, and you got to figure it out. Like, it's a tough love thing with him. I think he's a leader of men. I think that's something that, for a team that, I'll be honest, has lacked killer instinct for a long time, he kind of gives them that mindset of like, go figure it out. We got to lock this down. We got to figure out how to play the right way. So I think as a whole, he's done a great job. There's no denying that 97-point pace over an 82 games. I think last year, if they had him for the whole season, they'd have made the playoffs. I really think that.
What's Brandon's problem with him?
I don't know. Nick couldn't even confirm it. Like, he doesn't think he's that guy. Like, I think Brandon said, what'd he say, Nick? He doesn't think he's the guy that's going to get them the cup, right? But I think he's the guy that's going to get them back into the playoffs.
And just for reference, we're talking about Brandon Cook from one of the co-hosts of the Hockey Town West podcast here. So.
He's said it before too. He's not a Todd guy. Nick, you know.
He's not a Todd guy. And I think really what Todd's is, we talked about this. I think we talked about this last Griffin's episode, is just resetting the culture. Right. And so you bring Todd in to really reset the culture. You go through some You go through Newsy, you go through Blashill. There's a lot of losing around that, right? And you bring in Todd. Now you've kind of righted the ship. You've kind of reset the mentality. You don't see sad Dylan Larkin taking post game interviews anymore. Like it's the vibes are better, right? You've got everything that you've asked for of kids coming up. You know, your draft picks coming up. Everything is what the fans have wanted. You know, the last piece right here is going to be a Kosa coming up, right? And I think if you get him, maybe you get right into the playoffs, huh, Trav?
So wait, so who
No,
does
I'm-
Brandon think? Who does Brandon think is the right guy?
I don't know if
Does he think he's? Are you saying you think that they coach like this team is being coached in stages? Like Newsy got him through this part. Now it's McLellan to take him to the next step, and then Brandon thinks somebody should come up like once they're built and ready to go. Like, does he think there's another guy? Who is it?
I don't think we know, but like a guy, I'll say this, a guy like Todd can have a shelf life. Like that's, I think, where he's at with it.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong. Like you can only be like that for so long in one place and the message grows stale. Like there's no denying that. I think that's where he's coming from with it. But I know he said it to us on in the past, Nick.
Yeah, you're right. He said it, and I believe it went on air. But I'm gonna let Brandon defend himself and not mine because that's his position, not mine.
Well, I know, and I mean, next time he's on, you can ask him about it. But I just think like Todd's the guy that's going to get them back into the line of relevancy. I think that's already started. But like again, like I just said, like how long is the runway with him to where a guy like that, very, very, very demanding, kind of old school, how long does that shelf life last? Like you've seen it work in places to where guys come in and they're there for 2-3 years and then all of a sudden it grows stale and they got to make another change. I think what Todd has done for this team is also he's instilled that like grow up. Like it's time to grow. Like there's no point in being sad, deflated, like stop acting like children almost to a point. Like he's going to tell you how it is. And I love how brutally honest he is when he talks to the media. Like he tells you how it is. And that I think is the most refreshing thing.
Well, shifting gears here, Tony's favorite saying, I got to make a graphic or some kind of soundbite for that, Devin, just because it's so stupid now. It's
Absolutely.
I'm glad we have you guys here today because, there was some transactions here involving the Griffins, Red Wings. Jonatan Berggren was placed on waivers Monday. Tuesday, St. Louis claimed the 2018 second-round draft choice. Finishes Detroit career, and I got this from Devin. Thank you for tweeting this out because I didn't really want to look it up on Hockey Pro Reference, so I just follow you on Twitter. But finishes Detroit career with 31 goals, 64 points in 169 games. Always liked Burgers. He just needed a change of scenery. I don't think he's going to be like a long-term NHLer. I think see him maybe fade out in the next couple of years. But I mean, he kept he gave you guys a lot of excitement in Grand Rapids with his play there. I mean, he was a stud down there, and I'm curious what you guys think about him, and what was your reaction to Tuesday's news that he was getting another opportunity in St. Louis?
I was super sad to see that he was on waivers. I have a Jonatan Berggren jersey behind me. If you're watching on YouTube, it's right there. It's signed. Different number, but he corrected it in the in between the numbers. So when I saw the news that he got picked up by St. Louis, I was sad. I was really hoping that he would make it down to GR because GR is already a wagon. So add the rookie scoring guy again, and it was when he was here, it was electric, right? Like we knew if the game was close, you could count on him to put the game-winning goal in. You could count on him to score every night. It was electric. It was so fun. He was a hoot in the locker room. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get to talk with him, but just a media guy, he was just super fun to talk with from what we've heard with our friends that are writers. Oh, super sad, but at the same point, like you said, dog position, right? He was a square and trying to fit into a round hole kind of situation with this draft class that Yzerman has and this team that Yzerman's been building. He just didn't fit in with what they had, and his style of play didn't translate to what they were going towards. Happy that he got a chance, especially with the ex-Red Wings, right? The St. Louis Blues. So going over there, he gets to join a lot of his favorite, a lot of the players he's played with before. Oscar Sundquist, Robbie Fabry. I'm missing somebody. Pew Suter. Like,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of guys from the Red Wings organization that are over there. So, and now they're starting to call St. Louis the Swede team. So, be able to go over, join a bunch of them. Hoping he has success. I'm going to be following for a little bit just to see, how he does. And I've checked the scoreboard tonight. He's not on there yet, but St. Louis is winning 1-0. So
I wasn't shocked. I never really thought he was going to be that guy in the NHL, to be honest. Undersized winger. Like, yeah, he tore it up in the AHL, but to me, it never was a fit. Nick loves him, so he's going to be mad that I'm saying this. That's why he's laughing up in there in that corner of his. Everybody loved it. He seemed like a great personality, but I didn't really ever kind of buy into it. That whole draft class sent this organization backwards by so many years. Yeah, and just rid yourself of that draft class. I'm glad he got an opportunity somewhere. I just don't think this was the place for him. I don't think this was the opportunity for him. He's not a bottom 6 guy, but he's not dominant enough to be a top 6 guy. But in the American League, he's going to just dummy the league. You've seen it his rookie year. He's that in between, and I don't think he's ever going to be good enough to crack a top 6. And he's not good enough to be, or he's too good to be a bottom 6 guy, but he doesn't produce enough offense in that role. So it's just not going to work.
some could argue that it's because of who he was playing with too. Like Tarasenko, he's got Kopfer, just they're not really helping him out as well. So the reason that I loved him was because there wasn't much to be excited about that on that Griffins team that year that he was here. So that's where my love came for him and just how funny he was.
Just classic quadruple A player, way too good for the AHL, not like Travis was saying, not good enough to hold a top 6 spot or an offensive role in the NHL. So he's kind of just stuck in the middle. I saw somebody post something along this lines over on social media, and I honestly kind of agree with it. He could honestly carve out a decent career for himself as somebody who kind of bounces around between teams that are in the early stages of the rebuild, because he could be a real solid second, third line offensive winger that can just play a couple years. Maybe he has a good year randomly where he hits 40 points just because the team he's playing with is using him because they have to. If he's on a team that has legitimate aspirations and has the depth to back it up, he's going to be where he was in Detroit. But if he's on a team that is in the middle of a teardown, but still needs guys to be competitive on a nightly basis, I think he can be that. And I think that he can honestly flourish in that type of role. And what do you know? I think that's kind of where St. Louis is headed. So it honestly didn't surprise me that type of team is the team that did claim Berggren when he hit waivers.
Well, and then, here's another thing where the writing's on the wall. You have him sitting in the press box. Patrick Kane goes out. Rather than putting him on the second line, they call up John Leonard. The writing was there. And for a guy like that, I completely agree with you, Devin. That's a guy that's he could carve out a really good career going to teams St. Louis. Even I'm surprised Calgary, another team that needs younger players to just kind of start this rebuild. Teams like that. So I'm glad that he's getting an opportunity. That's always what you want, right? I mean, Zadina bet on himself. He even got another opportunity. So go back to that draft class.
2018 draft that we were talking about, references where the Red Wings took Philip Zadina over guys like Bouchard and Quinn Hughes, obviously, and Noah Dobson. And then you have Joe Veleno, who's already out of the organization, who was never much of an impact here, and Jonatan Berggren, your second round pick. Neither he wasn't either. And so just kind of goes to show why this organization has struggled so far. And if you look at the draft classes, even before that, Kenny Holland's draft classes, they're pretty bad. They're really putrid. It's I don't even know I've never used that word putrid before, but that's how bad they were.
I'll say this. You see in here, rebuilds take 8 to 10 years. This is why. Because when you're trying to predict 17, 18, 19-year-old kids for into the future, that's why if you're very lucky to get one NHL player out of a draft class. A legit NHL player, you're very lucky to get one.
Yeah, one that's played 300 games. I think Kenny Holland, trying to remember which person I stole tweets from. It was either Devin or Nick. I can't remember. Where yeah, how many players did he have that had played 300 games? Did Kenny Holland draft in all those drafts? It was like 2 players that had played 300 games, and it was barely that. It was some dark times back then. I still think about the Quinn Hughes. I think about the Red Wings could have drafted Jacob Chychrun. Instead, they traded that Datsuk contract away.
I mean, they didn't have a choice, dude.
Yeah.
Zadina was a 40-goal guy in the queue that fell like to the
Yeah. I know.
like
That's what every fan was like. Yes, we were all excited. I'm jumping up and down. It's great. This guy's a fucking surefire thing, and turns out to be the biggest bust, and the superstars right after him.
yeah,
At
it
that
happens.
Just fitting. Just fitting. I want to talk about another guy who's been very good in the AHL, and that's John Leonard, who got called up this week to the Red Wings in place of Patrick Kane. Here's another guy who was excelled offensively in the AHL. Was he tied for second or third in the AHL in goals scored last year with Charlottesville? And then this year's he's got 19 goals in 20 games. Also, got to love the pedigree. His brother's pretty good, but 6 years younger. Did you see that pass he had tonight to Emmett Finney? Like he was falling backwards. I mean, he set up that goal, and you've seen him put the puck in the net and in AHL arenas. So what can you tell us about Leonard, man?
Well, I think the plan is for him to just fill in for Patrick Kane, and then as soon as Kaner's back, he's going to be coming back to Grand Rapids. But I don't think it's beneficial for him to be the odd man out, right? Of just sitting up there in the press box like Berggren was when he was sitting out. So I would rather see him back here, continue to lighten up if instead of being sat. Brandon and I talked about it today. They did this with Lagesson last year, though. They brought Lagesson up right around this time last year and didn't play him the rest of the season. It was a very odd situation. So we could see that happening as well. It's tough to say how long it'll be up there just based off of what everybody's been saying and kind of how this organization works. You're kind of in a split road situation here. But Leonard, I mean, it's this guy, he's not afraid to shoot. He's got good IQ. I mean, we talked about it last night, is just in that Rockford game last week. There's shorthanded. They're going down with 0.4 seconds, and he just winds up with this ridiculous windup and just blasts it into the net, which is the game-winning goal shorthanded. Like, that's just insane to be able to see. He brings a lot of energy. He's not afraid. Like, it's just, he's a good veteran that's here, that's teaching the other guys, how to play. We've been calling for him to be called up here for the last couple of weeks because he's just been on such a tear. So it's good to see him tonight. Like last night, he had plenty of opportunity, or we're recording Wednesday. So I talk about Tuesday's game. He had a couple opportunities. He was a little bit slow and the pace was a little bit too fast for him at that point. But I think, and what I said on this was he's going to take a second to get adjusted to the speed and then he'll be fine. Right. And you saw it tonight. He's a little off balance. He gets that pass out to Finney and Finney buries it. So, I mean, he's going to provide the offense, that was missing from Berggren when he was in. So, but it helps when you play with people like Alex DeBrincat. You play with, Emmett Finney now. He gets him going on the power plays. It's good to see. Happy he got a point while he was up there. And, I wouldn't be sad if he got stuck up there for a while.
I think the biggest thing that stood out to me, at least in his 2 games with the Red Wings, is that energy and the pace that he's been able to play with. He's playing on the second line with Andrew Kopp and Alex DeBrincat. Speaking of the cat, right? You got to play with pace. You got to be able to play with pace. You're playing with a 20 goal scorer right now. A guy who's on pace to score over 40, and you're playing in a top 6 role. You're going to have to be able to, pull your weight, for lack of better phrasing on this. But he's had, like you said, he's had his chances. He's certainly looked the part. Now he's obviously not getting force-fed minutes or anything like that. I think he played 12 minutes against the Mammoth here, which isn't a ton, but he still looked good in that time frame. So I think that the thing that benefits him is that he's being put in a position to succeed, but the Red Wings also seem to know what he is. They're not trying to make him something that he's not. And that is in turn putting him in a position to be successful. So, I've liked what I've seen from him. And I think that it's partially because the organization kind of already had a good idea of what to do with him.
Glad that Todd put him where he did, though, is like, you'll see like last year, I think Shiner, when he got called up, 4th line. Like Scheid plays top line minutes up down here in Grand Rapids. Like you're putting a guy that plays top 6, top line, and you're putting him up there at second line. Like that's the best spot for him. And so you are putting him in a great position to succeed, whereas sometimes you don't see that. And that's the thing that when we saw, like when he got called up, everybody was on him like, oh, it won't translate. It won't translate. Well, who knows where those other teams had put him in the past in the NHL? Like, did they put him on the bottom 4 or bottom 3? Like, this guy's firing, and he's not playing every game down here in Grand Rapids because of the veteran rule. They have to sit him. Tonight was his night to sit. So it benefited us that he was up there to get some game time, to get some legs going, and he's been fresh. So, like, I love the aspect of them putting him where he is at. It is translating, right? He's got a point in the 1 point in 2 games, and he's creating those chances. Like, what more can you ask for this guy?
Probably by the time I finish recording this, just like last week, he'll be sent down, and then I'll send you guys a text in the morning saying shit, and I have to cut out all that talk. So let's preface that part right here.
Hey, he could go right back up, right? Like that is a guy that could fit into the Wings system right there, right? And that would probably help salvage some of that draft class, because that was the draft class that he came out of, was the 2017.
2018.
Maybe we find somebody out of that one, which is John Leonard.
All right. Well, before we get wrapped here, and once again, guys, can't thank you enough for joining us. Devin, hit us with news and notes, man. I know Travis has got some commentary here that he's been waiting to fire up.
Oh yeah, I might as well jump right into that. We got our jersey guru here, so let's talk about some Stadium Series jerseys.
They're both awful.
I knew he was going to say that even before
the Tampa Bay Lightning and Boston Bruins are playing each other in a Stadium Series game this year at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium. And I guess to kind of, jump right into it. Yeah, the jerseys are a little. Travis, would you like to elaborate a little bit on it?
So, like, did I send you, Evan, the one that was like, if they would have did this, they fixed it, and it's when they put the skull head that the Lightning used for that one night. If they just put that on the front, been perfect. But then they do this TBL. It says TBL, don't it? I don't even know what's on it because it's so ugly. I don't even want to get one. And then the Bruins one, like, it's not even the right color. Like, what the hell were they thinking? Like, I don't. And that's the thing, too, because you got to remember, like, the teams don't necessarily come up with this. It's the people that work for Fanatics that come up with multiple designs. They're all pitched, right? And, like, the reverse retro program was the same thing when Adidas did it. They came up with 8-9 different styles. Here's your pitches. Yeah, like, you got one on. So, like, when they do these, like, listen, I think this was all a miss in general. I think it should have been flip-flopped. I think you should have had the Stadium Series be in Miami, where they're doing the Winter Classic, because then you could have had the Panthers roll with a Miami Vice theme. That would have been sick. Like, it would have been sweet. But the Stadium Series, they're both a miss. And then the Winter Classics, I mean, you got a Meth Panther and
Meth Panther.
Yeah, dude, look at the Panther on the. You can't look at the Panthers Winter Classic. Yeah. Look at the Mustard Cat, which I call the Meth Tiger from Nashville, and then there's another one,
Cocaine Bear.
The Cocaine Bear. There's like their NHL. Yeah, it's crazy. But
no, the Tampa Bay one is fucking putrid. I think Devin, I told you last week in our episode that got killed. It looked like I pictured when I saw the jerseys, like that's something like the Monsters Inc. characters would wear if they were all like on a hockey team. Like it just had that like color font that made me go right to like Monsters Inc. And that's because I have a kid and I see this crap all the time. But that's what I thought of them.
I feel like the Stadium Series jerseys in general are very hit or miss. There's been some that are like ridiculously terrible, and there's others that have really stood out. And I think that last year was one that they like nailed it across the board. And that's not like, oh, we're a Red Wings podcast. Of course he thinks that the Stadium Series look great. No, the Cannon jersey was phenomenal too. I thought both of them were great. But this year, just missed opportunities, I feel like. Maybe I'll give the Bruins a little bit of leeway here. They've had a lot of specialty jerseys over the last decade. They're always, a lot of Winter Classics, a lot of Stadium Series, a lot, they had a Centennial thing too. So they're running out of like things they can pull from. So I'll at least give them that. yeah, missed opportunities across the board. I'm not super impressed myself. And then sticking with, I guess, the Southern hockey theme, we referenced the mustard cat in Nashville. This is kind of a weird one. College football, the college football playoff is set to begin this weekend, actually. So it was notable that Nick Saban, of all people, bought a minority stake in the Nashville Predators, part of a group that did that. But yeah, the arguably the greatest coach in all of college football is now a minority owner of the Nashville Predators. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Anybody a big Alabama fan?
I hated Saban. I hated him at Michigan State. I'm old enough to. I was there when he was there, and I never heard a good word about him. Never. I just heard it just from alumni, from players. Like it just heard he's not a good dude. And
I mean, my grandparents used to live not far from Tuscaloosa, so like my dad is big on that. Like he loves Bama, so like that's naturally who like I kind of started gravitating to. So like I think it's cool. Like I want so badly him to be at a game and the Predators are just getting absolutely slacked, and him just a video of him just losing it in a suite. Like I used to like just throw the headphones down and like chew guys out like with 10 seconds left in the game. Like I just want a video, like a camera on him, and Nashville's just getting smoked, and he's just absolutely going senile in a box.
All right, Red Wings have a home-and-home with the Capitals starting in Washington on Saturday, and then back to the LCA on Sunday. Then Detroit hosts the Stars on Tuesday before getting a much-needed Christmas break. We're going to spend some time with the family over the holidays and be back after the new year. So I want to thank you, everyone, for joining us for episode 65, our last episode of 2025. Happy holidays to everyone. Before we go, though, Nick, Travis, pump your podcast, man. You guys can. I can't do it as good as you guys can.
That's Nick's
Yeah,
job.
so if you haven't followed us yet or subscribed, we are on YouTube. We are Hockeytown W Pod on all the socials, Instagram. You can find reels of the episodes that we do. We are currently in the middle, in the beginning of doing a 30 for 30 with the past Griffins players. We've got Eric Tangretti out right now. So if you're a past Red Wings fan, you can check out his interview. It was really, really good. I wish I was able to be on it. Trav was on it though. And then we just wrapped up, I'm going to leak it here, is Mitch Callahan. So another Red Wing player, got some time, and then championship series with Grand Rapids. Brandon and I were able to sit down with him and talk. And then we are doing the Ignite the Nest as well. So we've got all these pods battling it out for who knows hockey the best, I guess, or who's the lucky pick for the week.
We're in third place. I think we're in third place in that.
I'm in last.
Check your standings. Yeah.
I suck.
Well, here's the problem. All the good players got called up to Detroit. But now it's like we have jockey for whatever.
Is there like a points multiplier if Leonard gets points in Detroit? Does that like transfer to Ignite?
Yeah, you get
probably
points,
double.
Yeah. Probably double.
We should talk about that.
So it's been fun. It's been chaos. But you can follow us there. And I think that's it. What else? Travis, am I missing anything? We do Griffiths, we do Toledo. So if you haven't caught us on the Toledo side either, go out. I know some some podcasts are talking about the walleye. So, but we've been talking about it for the last 3 years now. So go over, follow them, keep in touch with Mr. Brandon Hawkins, Mr. MVP of the league for the last 2 years. Good guy.
Guy's a beauty.
Anything else?
What?
Yeah, guy's a stud.
No, you guys are great, and we're very fortunate to team up with you and just to hang out with you and talk to you has been awesome. And people, if you're not following these guys, you should be, because if you care about the Red Wings' future, these guys are the ones that are at every Grand Rapids Griffins games, getting media, audio, everything. They're on top of it all. So I highly, highly recommend them.
I want to add one more thing, Evan. We are 23-1-0-1 as well. We're 11-game win streak going on, or 12-game win streak right now. So, I mean, this team, you got to tune in. This team's a wagon right now. I mean, I don't know. This has never happened in 90 years of the AHL. I don't know any other team in any professional league that's just had this dominant run. So, got to check us out for them at least.
And it's crazy because, like, all the kids got called up. Mazur's hurt. Lombardi's been hurt. Williams been hurt. Like, what's going on? What's in the water in Grand Rapids?
Well, talk with you on the next year.
And not to mention, they got two guys that played in the ECHL last year in their fourth line right now.
Well, and the goalie. So
Well, Seager doesn't really count. He had a cup of coffee. He had like 3 games.
It's ridiculous, man. What a wagon. You guys must be having the time of your lives.
Some are saying they may never lose again.
All right. So thanks everyone for joining us for episode 65 and happy holidays. Hope you all get to spend it with family and friends, mix in a little football and a little booze, as you should be good to go. And we'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks for listening to the Flying Octopus podcast. Follow us on YouTube at the Flying Octopus channel and Twitter at Flying Octopod.